Hello, beautiful friends. Get your tea, get your blankets, get your notebooks, get yourself in a cozy situation because we are about to talk about an energy that is just giving me life right now. There is something about Gemini season coming up this year that feels so good, so playful, so inventive, so curious, so willing to be present in this life. I think with it being right after eclipse season and it being a time of clearer vision, I'd say, and just kind of curiosity more than anything else, I think this is just a very helpful, soothing energy. So we are going to cover all the bases when it comes to Gemini season. We're going to go over some of the big transits that are happening. I'm going to tell you some of the themes that I'm noticing with this energy. We're going to pull some cards for the entire season so we get an overview of what we're working with here. And I'm going to let you in on some of the ways I think Gemini energy is impactful, meaningful, beautiful, all of that good stuff. So let's get into it. Let's get right into it. So Gemini energy, it's this mutable air energy. It is the mutable air sign. It's associated with tarot cards like the Lovers, things like communication, curiosity, playfulness, talkativeness, flirtatiousness. One of the main words that comes up for me when I think about Gemini energy is curiosity. I have multiple very close friends who are Geminis, and I would say one of the things I love about them the most is they're so good at asking questions and getting curious about life. And I always try and return the favor to my Gemini friends by asking them a lot of questions because we have some of the best conversations. But so for me, Gemini is notorious, I guess like in pop astrology, right? We have the stereotype that this is a two-faced person with two personalities, and sometimes you get the fun, bubbly one, and sometimes you get the evil twin or the criticizer or what have you. For me, I think this is just a sign that represents the dynamism of communication and being curious, and that can show up in a lot of different facets. It's about our connection, our communion with ourselves and with others, and the way we show up and be present for that in this here and now moment. There's a playful, fresh, beautiful energy with Gemini. It's the third sign of the zodiac. So we're still in these early signs, which represents a youthful curiosity about the whole world. So there's a lot of beginner's mind energy in Gemini, which makes for a very useful skill set if you're somebody who wants to learn, grow, explore, and make shifts in life. So some of the themes that have been coming up for me when I felt through this particular Gemini season, the main one is this is a season where we are seeing the world with fresh eyes. We are coming into this Gemini season. This is the first Gemini season since the North Node moved out of Gemini and into Taurus. So I think Gemini energy in general got up-leveled on the communal, collective level while the North Node was in that sign. Now we're connecting with it in new and exciting ways. It is also happening, after eclipse season when we've done a lot of integrating, a lot of releasing, a lot of healing, which means this is a great time to kind of understand and ground into whatever it is we have been learning so far this year. So for me, this curious, playful movement, ability to move, explore, change shape, change identity, get curious about who we're becoming is a really, really great asset after something like a fixed sign eclipse season where we were having to do some healing around how we contain and define ourselves and our life path. The other thing that is crucial about this Gemini season that keeps coming up time and again is this is a Gemini season to get inventive and creative. Try putting different pieces of the puzzle together. Use a pencil sharpener to, store to store paper clips. I don't know. That's not my best idea. You get the point. It's time to listen in and get creative and get really inventive. This is a really, really fun, playful energy that is about just stepping outside of the kind of the routine, the way we've kind of decided, well, this is just how I do this. Getting, just kind of looking at everything like we're 2 years old. 2-year-olds are always coming up with new combinations of things. So it's a really playful time that way. I think also this is a season that's going to be about making friends with ourselves again. One of the things that I think is so important about Gemini energy in general is friendship. It is connection. And yes, we can literally see there's like Gemini dominant people all around, right? Like we've all known some Geminis, but and yes, they're great friends. I love them. But this is about the friendship we create within ourselves, the way that we view the world. Do we feel like we're friends with our environment? Do we feel like we're friends with like our life path? Do we feel like we're friends with our, ourselves, just who we are in the world? Do we feel like we like ourselves, respect ourselves, play well with ourselves, get curious about ourselves, ask interested questions the way we would to a friend that's coming to us with a quandary in life, with an unknown in life? This is a season where we're really going to be asked to deepen and strengthen our bonds of friendship within our own little ecosystem inside, as well as with the world around us, with the elements around us, not just people, but also just our environments and our routines and just the way we even perceive walking down the street. Do we feel like we are in friendship with ourselves and with the world where we're just going about our day-to-day life? And can we allow ourselves to build a little bit more skill set in that area, and bring a little bit more curiosity, playful kindness to the whole puzzle? This is also going to be, here's the final kind of main theme before we get into the transits. This is also going to be about letting go of the categorization we have had for ourselves. And this is kind of a follow-up to eclipse season and this recent Taurus season we have just moved through, because Gemini energy, once again, is mutable air. And this is not about how we just cut ourselves up into these nice, tidy packages so that we can present a certain front to the world and so that we can make sense. It's kind of like, it reminds me of, when I was in my 20s and I'd go back home for Christmas. And there'd always be like a Christmas party that my parents would organize, and all my parents' friends would be there, and you'd have to give your life update. And I was always somebody who kind of did things differently. Like I just got history degrees, like multiple history degrees, not because I wanted to be an academic or go get my law degree, but because I just loved it. And the adults of this party would just be mystified by this. So I kind of trained myself to figure out a good answer so that it looked nice and tidy. This is who I am. Here's the box I fit into, because it made other people comfortable. And sometimes those boxes weirdly follow you around in life and subconsciously in the way you treat yourself and the way you treat your life path. And so this is a really great Gemini season to reconsider any answers you would give at the holiday party to the acquaintances. How do you talk about yourself? How do you talk about your life path? Does it equate to who you're becoming? And just allowing yourself to get curious. Maybe you don't fit into that tidy little box anymore, right? Maybe you're just calling and longing for something completely different in your life and you don't even know exactly what it is. I think this Gemini season is just about getting openly curious enough to even just ask the question and see what little puzzle pieces are coming to the surface. So it's just, in general, it's about staying a little open and receptive to ourselves and our environments and seeing what that conversation looks and sounds like and how we can contribute to it and make it friendlier, and also how we can hear and listen, because that's the final thing. This is all about listening this Gemini season. So let's get into it. Gemini season, Sun moves into Gemini on May 20th. It's worth pointing out that at this point, Gemini's ruling planet Mercury is going to be retrograde until June 3rd. So the first couple weeks of this Gemini season will be Mercury retrograde season. This amplifies kind of that sense of listening in, really taking the time to hear and listen. That's the key component of Mercury retrograde. And I did do a Mercury retrograde video if you're curious about that. Mercury at the beginning of Gemini season, will be moving back into Taurus for the second part of this Mercury retrograde. So we have that going on. But once again, Mercury retrograde for me is more about integration and curiosity than it is about any other things. So we don't really need to expend a lot of energy expecting this Gemini season to be a discombobulated mess. We're going to put that over to the side. We don't need that. A lot of planets this Gemini season are actually coming home. So we have Mars on May 24th moving into Aries. And Mars rules Aries. Mars is very comfortable in Aries. And this is a very potent, powerful energy. A lot of times it's talked about kind of in terms of like, I'm going to get out there and like make things happen and just be in like turbo power speed. But once again, one thing I'm noticing is right now Jupiter is moving through Aries during this time. Chiron is moving through Aries at this time. We're redefining how we want to work with Martian and Aries energy. And one of the things that I think is really important in Mars moving through Aries is that this is about simplifying and focusing in, not scattering our energy to the four winds. I think Mars and Aries are both, they're kind of like an arrow. There's kind of this direct clarity to that energy. So working with Mars and Aries is really about, focusing our vision in on those one or two things that are really giving us life and really wanting attention. I would also say, Mars and Aries is about initiation. So opening up a new project, getting curious and exploring new chapters in life. It's a really, really beautiful and in harmony energy. And it doesn't need to be about pushing hard or being in competition. It's just about kind of focusing our energy and using our firepower in the ways that feel truest for us. So I think that's an important differentiation in the way that Mars is talked about, especially Mars and Aries. And then shortly after that, May 28th, Venus comes home to Taurus. Venus rules Taurus. Venus loves being in Taurus. This is such a beautiful energy. This is really about falling in love with life again. There's an emphasis here with Taurus or Venus and Taurus with just enjoying like the beauty of life, like the flavors, the smells, the scents. And this makes me think about making friends with life once again this Gemini season, because for me, Venus and Taurus is about making friends with the physical life. And having a body is a very interesting experience. There are good days and there are weird days and there are really challenging days, and we're all having different experiences with being here in the physical. There's a wide rainbow of experiences in what it feels like to be in a body. But I will say that Venus and Taurus is encouraging us to find the places that feel really good about that. And just spend a little time communing with that, which I think can be really healing and really soothing. And in general, this is just a very soft, loving energy that can really hold us at this time. It's very beautiful. We then head right into the new moon in Gemini, and we're going to have a video about that. This is a really playful, supportive new moon. It really wants us to just, like I said, it highlights for me the essence of Gemini season in general, which is about making friends with life and life force and with ourselves and all of that. That's what this new moon is all about. This new moon is also happening with Mars and Jupiter conjunct in Aries. And this is once again kind of an initiatory, curious energy that's really getting amplified during this new moon. And it has such a different flavor than eclipse season and Taurus season, where there's this expansive curiosity about what could be without even really knowing exactly what the ingredients will be. It's just the openness. That's all we're getting asked to do here with this new moon, is just get open. We'll start there. We'll start there. We'll start with the basics of just being open to the possibility that problems can be solved, that we can make friends with certain aspects of our lives, and that we can shift and change ingredients within it. So it's going to be a beautiful new moon that is going to officially kind of close out the eclipse energy and help us to integrate whatever we just learned in Taurus season. So it's going to be very helpful, I think, clarifying, help us seeing with fresh eyes. Like I mentioned, June 3rd, Mercury is going to go direct in Taurus. So this will just help us get, I mean, I don't really think we get confused during Mercury retrograde. That's another one of those weird cultural myths that's just built and built for decades. We don't get confused during Mercury retrograde, but you can feel a little bit like you've gained some new insight. You've gained some fresh clarity, that you can kind of see things with fresh eyes and with fresh perspective. And that can be really, really helpful, after an eclipse season. Right after Mercury goes direct, we have our lovely friend Saturn in Aquarius going retrograde for 4 months. And we're getting to this point in the year where we're going to start to see a lot of the outer planets go into their annual retrogrades. And outer planets and their retrogrades, this is really philosophical stuff. We're getting into like the existential questions of what it means to be a human and how we do it, and just kind of allowing the bigger process to do its work with us. I'm going to do a video on this because I feel so strongly about it. Saturn gets such a bad rap, right? Like Saturn is just kind of this like mean-spirited, nose to the grindstone kind of energy. That's how it's portrayed. For me, this healthily incorporated Saturn energy is about building a sense of security and safety and self-trust that goes really, really deep, where we feel that we have inner parenting that reflects a sense of respect for ourselves, a sense of care for ourselves, a sense of care for how we show up in the world. So Saturn retrograde in Aquarius, this is about integrating any life lessons we may be having right now. It's going to be about healing any inner parenting that needs healing, especially around kind of the helpful disciplinary kind of inner parenting and how we do that. Do we do that in ways that have to do with self-punishment, with castigation, with shame, or do we do inner discipline and inner parenting from a place of deep support and deep understanding and deep listening? Saturn retrograde in Aquarius is going to ask those questions. And I think Saturn in retrograde in Aquarius specifically is also asking us those questions about our culture at large, because Aquarius is about the collective. So it's also asking questions about how we like punish and discipline all of us, with beauty products, with commercialism, with war, with all sorts of things, mechanisms that have been normalized. So it goes to some really deep philosophical questions that I think we'll just be mulling over and exploring during these 4 months. But Saturn goes retrograde every year, so for, a third of the year. So this is a very innate part of the year that a lot of us probably don't even realize is happening. Venus and Uranus are also going to meet up during this Gemini season in Taurus. And this is very much about getting inventive. Once again, this is very inventive energy. How can we inject more play and joy in our lives? How do we rearrange the pieces so that we can do that? And can we be open to the solutions, the creativity that want to come in that would give us some of that joy? Then Mercury comes home to Gemini on the 13th. And this is joining Venus and Taurus, Aries and Mars, Mercury and Gemini. They're all home here at this point in the Gemini season. And so this is giving like a really nice flow to the energy and a very creative, playful, connective, communicative part of Gemini season as we get to the last week of Gemini season. June 14th, we have the full moon in Sagittarius. Now, this full moon, we are going to get into it in a full chat, of course, but this full moon is going to be squaring Neptune. That's going to be the big ticket item. And I find this really interesting because Sag energy is all about like the dreaming, the big picture. Neptune and Pisces energy, which is what this new moon will be, or this full moon will be squaring, is also about the dream and the floating. When they're squaring like this, they're asking us to get honest about our dreams. And like I said, we'll get back to this before again, but there is a kind of reckoning is a very strong word, but there's a kind of meeting going on here in the big picture scheme about reviewing our dreams and the dreams that we are still forcing ourselves to dream because we're supposed to dream them, the dreams that we have carried with us from past versions of ourselves, and allowing some of those to dissolve so that we can get very clear on the dreams we actually mean. So like I said, we'll get back into that, but it does take us to a very interesting place of question and review. It's going to be great. And then we get to the summer solstice. The sun moves out of Mercury and into Cancer around the 20th, the 21st of the month. So we close it out right there. Let's get into these cards. So you can see this is a very busy month. There's a lot moving around. There's a lot of new conversations. There's a lot of conversations that we haven't seen for a little while. And some new fresh perspectives moving through at this time. So it's really all about like holding it lightly, holding like ourselves lightly, shaking it off, letting our physical body kind of relax a little bit, letting our minds relax a little bit, and just staying like open, receptive, curious, and just really fostering that mental space. I think sometimes we think with Gemini that we're going to have these really busy minds that are constantly concocting stories and inventing ideas. And yes, that's part of it. But I'd also say that Gemini energy is just as much about that being receptive, having the antenna up, being receptive. The Lovers, here's the Gemini card. I'm essentially right now, by the way, pulling a card for every week-ish. So we'll kind of be going through. Half the deck almost fell. 6 of Cups. I haven't seen that card for a little while, actually. Integrating some different timelines, some different points in time of our lives, integrating the Star. Wow. These cards are gorgeous. And like I said, there's a real tinge to Gemini season in general of activating our sense of friendship and communion with our lives. The dreamer, the hoper, the connector, things that I think, and then as I said, that 10 of Swords. I think that it's important to foster this relationship with this part of ourselves. Okay, let's get into it. This is a beautiful Gemini season. I really do feel so lit up by the idea of this Gemini season. Okay, so Lovers, this is a card of connection, right? This is a card of, yes, I think, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, Gemini season's like, we're all feeling good. The sun is out. It's getting warm. It's early summer. Like everything's ahead of us. This is a really great time for communion and connection. But it also represents for me the core of Gemini energy, which is this sense of connection and benevolence from the elements around us, is also from within. This card is not just about two, equals meeting and having that really, really deep bond and that really, really deep, long path together, but it's also about this benevolent sun, the benevolent angel, that are holding them and looking out for them and allowing them to get curious about who they're becoming. And so this really just represents on an archetypal level the state of mind we are in and I think, it's a state of mind we're in when we're falling in love and when we're excited about a new project. It's full of this just vibrant, alive energy, and we're just full of questions and we want to know everything. And I think this is the essential energy of the beginning of this Gemini season, and something that we deserve after that eclipse season for sure. Now with that is coming the 6 of Cups. So our second card as we head into the second week of Gemini season. This is an energy of, like I said, I mentioned collapsed timelines. Whenever I see the 6 of Cups, it makes me think about the nostalgia we have for things in our past, for other times, other places that meant a lot to us, that made us feel very safe, very loved, very appreciated, very like tender and pure and like safe. A lot of times it's nostalgia for like special moments in our childhood and things like that. But this is a card about like kind of coming to peace with anything that, you maybe are holding yourself back in those old timelines, in those old ways of viewing yourself. Because while this is beautiful, loving energy, and it is about connections that kind of go across time and space, if we get trapped in the 6 of Cups for too long, we are never really present here. And so there's an invitation here to integrate, make peace with, move through, and then be present here. That might be happening during this time. But once again, that reflects what I was mentioning about releasing old containers, releasing old identifiers that are just not meant to come on the journey at this time. And the 6 of Cups really reflects that. Because the star is here too. And I love this. I mean, who doesn't love the star, right? I mean, the whole tagline with the star is you're getting the thing you want. You're getting the wish, the dream, the longing that you want. I will say with the star, the deal with the star is that she says, welcome. Yes, we want you on this adventure. We want you to come along to this beautiful place of healing, of connection, but you're going to have to start seeing things with fresh eyes. You're going to have to step out of the familiar, rudimentary routine. You're going to have to get curious enough to step outside of your comfort zone and your stuck patterns, because she is celestial. She is, this is tied to Aquarian energy, which is about doing things differently. It's about trying things, drawing outside of the lines, and hitting our growth edge. So there is a deal here as well with but once again, I think the important thing with Gemini season is not to gird ourselves to get to our growth edge and force our way through the discomfort and the worry or whatever, but is to relax into getting curious about what is coming up. And that is really the essential theme here with that star energy. However, it does mean that there are beautiful new waves of energy coming in. There are beautiful new connections, dreams, possibilities that are starting to open up, especially if we've primed ourselves to be in friendship with our lives. Now, we are ending Gemini season on quite the note, 10 of Swords. The 10 of Swords is about release. It's about an ending for sure. All 10s in tarot are going to be about a storyline coming to fruition, completion, closing out the circle, essentially. And I know a lot of people have deep, strong reactions to 10 of Swords because it's very much like the Caesar story of being, betrayed and stabbed in the back. However, this is about letting go of the battles you're fighting. Letting go of the battles you're fighting in your spirit, in your life, letting go of the battles you're fighting in your mind about something that happened in the past or something that you weren't able to make right or somebody that's really frustrating you or a part of your life that you just wish would go differently. The 10 of Swords is about the deep letting go of being in that battle and the beauty and the release and the gift of that. And this Gemini season is so, with looking at these cards, it's like that recognition that we are allowed to enter into some really beautiful new connections, but it will require us to let go of how we've rigidly defined ourselves and held ourselves before. It will require that we get very curious about ourselves if we want to meet these new things. And that's just kind of the deal with it. The more curious, the more relaxed, the more open we are, the more this Gemini season is going to feel like this coming home and this connective journey where the puzzle pieces are starting to fit in. There's still a lot of mystery to this Gemini season as well, though, because for me, it's just the beginning of a lot of things that aren't going to be made clear until, I don't know, some other point down the road as we keep going, because so much is new, so much is fresh, so much is just now getting started in the learning process. I am so excited. I love you Geminis out there. And if you have a Gemini sun and it's your birthday, I just wish you such a beautiful solar return, a beautiful birthday, a beautiful season for you. I love you all so much. I'm going to be going week by week through this over on my Patreon. So if you're looking for a community and a sense of connection and also just support and information about how to move through each week, we hang out every single week there. We activate the new moons and the full moons and we talk about different transits. I would love to see you there. So I will leave that link so you know where to find me. You can also find me on my Instagram. And of course, I would love to see you here in this space. It means so much to me as I'm going through this huge transition in my own life and in my own creativity. I'm curious to see what new ideas dawn on me during this Gemini season as well. And then you can probably find out what they are going to be when I put them here during Gemini season. So if you subscribe, you will definitely be getting to see whatever happens and comes out of this situation right here. So I'd love to see you here and let me know how you're feeling about Gemini season and what's coming up for you. I will talk to you very, very soon. The next season on our list is Cancer season, and I have a very special place in my heart for Cancerian energy, but we'll get there when we get there. See you soon, my friends.